Namas sarvebhyaha sarvesham hardam swagatam Guru Purnima yaha subhashayaha sarvebhyaha. We'll start the class after chanting the Prarthana Shlokas. Krishno rakshatu mang chara chara guruhu Krishnan namasyamyakam Krishne namara shatravo vinikataha Krishnaya tasmai namaha Krishna deva samukthidam jagadidam Krishnasya dasosmyakam Krishne bhaktirajanjalasto bhagavan He Krishna tubhyan namaha Prapanna parijataya totra vetraika panaye jnana mudraya krishnaya Gitamrtaduke namaha Vasudeva sutan devam kamsa chanuramardanam Devaki paramanandam Krishnau vande jagadgurum. Sarvesham puna swagatam. So we are here in the 18th sloka. So here, iti kshetran tatha jnanam jneyam choktam samasataha madbhakta etat vijnaya madbhavayopapadyate. So here, iti kshetram, there's a dvitvam there because it's hrasva followed by a samyuktakshara, always there will be a ditvam will be there. So here there will be a ditvam will be iti kshetram, like that. So here Bhagavan is telling in this manner, iti, in this manner, kshetram, the field, and tatha, like that, jnanam, that is knowledge, and jneyam, what is to be known, has been described in brief. Uktam samasataha. In brief, I have explained to you what is kshetram, what is jnanam, what is jneyam, to be known, what is knowledge and what is to be known. I have described to you, explained to you in brief. Madbhakta. My devotees, madbhakta, my devotees, by understanding this, edat vijnaya, by understanding this, they become qualified to attain my state. Madbhava yopapadyate. They're qualified to attain my state. You understand? So here, Sri Krishna concludes the topic on Brahman. He was talking about Brahman. He was Sri Krishna was talking about the paradoxes and all that contradictions he was talking. So that topic is over. So here Bhagavan is telling, he concludes the topic in this sloka. He spoke about Kshetra. Kshetra, we saw in Kshetra, we saw 5th and 6th slokas was full of Kshetram, that is starting with this Mahabhutanya Hankaraha, 24 numbers, Kshetras, Upadhis or fields. We call all these names are same thing, Kshetra, Upadhi, fields, all are same thing. Bhagavan talked about 24. That is all these Jnanendriyas, Karmendriyas, etc. He talked about that. He did in 5th and 6th slokas, and he concluded there. Etat kshetram samasena. In the 6th sloka, he has concluded. Etat kshetram samasena. So briefly, he has talked about kshetra. So these include, these are the 24 upadhis, the building blocks of the universe, and there are 5 great elements. The intellect also included, 7 modifications, raga, dvesha, etc. due to contact with the world, desire, hatred, these all arise due to contact with the world. The field works like a machine. It is not under any control. It works automatically, devoid of awareness in itself, and is inert. So it borrows awareness from the Brahman. That is Jneyam, that is to be known. To be known. To be known. So field acts as an upadhi limiting the what we have seen. Field is acting as an upadhi at a limiting condition for Brahman. Brahman is there, but we are not able to see because of the upadhis. So if you focus on the dancing of waves in the ocean, full of waves in the ocean, you will miss to see the majestic, vast sea below that waves. You'll be missing. Similarly, if you concentrate on the upadhis, all the outward expressions of Brahman, you will miss to see actual Brahman there. Similarly, to know Brahman, we have to minimize the impact of upadhis. So that's why Jnanam enables us to remove these upadhis. We talked about Jnanam from 7th to 11th sloka. That is Amanitvam, Adambhitvam, Mahimsa, Khantirarjavam, Acharyopasanam, Shaucham, Stairyam, Atma, Vinigraha. Like that, we talked about 20 knowledge points, attributes that we have to practice so that we minimize the importance of these upadhis. For this, so Jnanam enables us to remove all the upadhis, 7th to 11th sloka. And here also he at the 11th sloka, he concludes, Edat Jnanam idi proktam. So this is what Jnanam idi proktam. So Ajnanam, whatever else is Ajnanam, is ignorance. So after mentally removing all the upadhis, we are ready to understand Brahman. So we have understood what is Kshetram, and also we have understood what is Jnanam. So after understanding this, we are ready to understand Brahman. So Shlokas 12 to 17, full of paradoxes and contradictions. Bhagavan is at the near, very far, very near. He is manifested or not manifested, like that. So a lot of contradictions, Bhagavan said. So is our intellect with which we recognize and conclude about things, will never be able to understand Brahman, because intellect is also a product of Prakriti. So with Prakriti, we cannot understand what is Brahman. So we used paradoxical statements so that the intellect will not mistakenly turn Brahman into a concept. It will not form any conclusions. This is Brahman. That is, oh, I have seen Brahman. I know what is Brahman. Like that, it will not come to it will not jump to conclusions. Because intellect cannot grasp the Brahman. So that's why Bhagavan has given these paradoxes to confuse. So Bhagavan says, those who have inquired into Brahman, like in the above manner, that is understanding what is Kshetram and what is Jnanam, and the paradoxical nature of Brahman, are qualified to attain liberation. So first thing is to know what is Kshetram, and then to what is Jnanam, that is the knowledge that we have to practice, that is Amanitvam, Adambhitvam, etc. So after that, your mind is cleared, this thing is cleared of all these upadhis, and you are ready to attain Brahman. So for that, we should become devotees of Bhagavan. So Madbhakta Edad Vijnaya. So who is a devotee? Devotee means one who knows that whatever he sees, hears, or touches is nothing but Ishvara. So that is a devotee. And Ishvara is residing everywhere, particularly in himself, as himself. That we should never forget. Ishvara is residing in every other being, including oneself. You will miss to include ourselves. So Ishvara is residing in ourselves also. This understanding should be there. Perfect understanding should be there. Such a devotee is such firm conviction will attain liberation. This will give liberation. That's what Bhagavan says in this. We'll continue.
Padma Vishwanathan.
Iti kshetran tatha jnanam.
Iti kshetran tatha jnanam. Iti kshetran tatha jnanam.
Jneyam choktam samasataha.
Jneyam choktam samasataha. Jneyam choktam samasataha.
Madbhakta etat vijnaya.
Madbhakta etat vijnaya. Madbhakta etat vijnaya.
Madbhavayopapadyate.
Madbhavayopapadyate. Madbhavayopapadyate.
Uttam.
Pushpa Bhagini.
Iti kshetram tatha jnanam.
Iti kshetram tatha jnanam. Iti kshetram tatha jnanam.
Yeyam choktam samasataha.
Yeyam choktam samasataha. Yeyam choktam samasataha.
Madbhaktaye tat vijnaya.
Madbhakta etad vijnaya. Madbhakta etad vijnaya.
Madbhavayopapadyate.
Madbhavayopapadyate. Madbhavayopapadyate.
Uttam.
Illavarasi Bhagini.
Iti kshetram tatha jnanam. Yeyam choktam samasataha.
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः
Madbhaktaye tat vijnaya. Madbhavayopapadyate.
मद्भक्तये तत् विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते मद्भक्तये तत् विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते
Uttam. Okay, sir.
Nagamani Bhagini.
Iti kshetram tatha jnanam. Nyeyam choktam samasataha. Madbhaktaye tat vijnaya. Madbhavayopapadyate.
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावयोपपद्यते
Madbhavayopapadyate.
मद्भावायोपपद्यते
Uttam.
धन्यवादः महोदय
Hema Bhagini.
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्तये तद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते.
Uttam.
Sapna Bhagini.
इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते.
Uttam. Well chanted. We'll go to the next sloka. So the next sloka, Bhagavan is taking a new topic here. He is close to the topic of Brahman, speaking about Brahman, going to a new topic. So will it help in knowing will it help the knowledge that we have gained the previous slokas? Will it help in knowing why do we experience sorrow in our lives? So Bhagavan is starting a new topic here. Prakritim purusham chaiva vidhyanadi upavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhe prakriti sambhavan. So here purusham chaiva, because one is swara followed by this chakara, prakritim, here him is there, but it is coinciding with this, so we don't have in a separate this thing. Prakritim purusham jaiva vidhyanadi upavapi. This dirgha is the vidya. This is mahaprana. Vidhyanadi upavapi vikaramscha gunamschaiva vidhe prakriti sambhavan. Ditva vidhi, because kraswa vidhi, then samyuktakshara pra vidhi prakriti sambhavan. So this is mahaprana. So here Bhagavan says, know that surely both Prakriti and Purusha are without beginning. Prakritim Purusham, this Prakriti and Purusha both, Upavapi, both are without beginning. Vidya means no, Anadi means no beginning. They are without beginning. And also know that in fact, all modifications, vikaramscha gunamschaiva, Vikaram means modifications, and guna means gunas or qualities. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. They are also born out of prakriti. So these are purusham, prakritim, purusham are without beginning both, and vikaramsha, and this is modifications, and the gunas are both arising out of prakriti. So here Sri Krishna describes how we fall into the trap of samsara. Samsara is nothing but the alternate experiencing of sorrow and joy. Joy and sometimes sorrow, sometimes joy, like that. It's alternate things. That's what happening to everyone. Samsara. So in the 7th chapter also, Bhagavan, these two aspects of Ishvara, the lower and higher nature, was explained in that 7th chapter. So lower prakriti, that is the 5 elements, that is the Panchabhutas, these Akasha, Vayu, Earth, Jalam, etc. The mind, ego, and intellect, they all belong to the lower prakriti. That is prakriti, that's lower nature, lower aspects, and a higher aspect is the life-giving force, also the experiencer or the subject. So Ishvara is the ultimate cause of everything. Prakriti and everything, Ishvara is the ultimate cause of everything. So here, lower nature Prakriti and the higher nature Purusha. That's there are 2 natures, lower and higher. Higher nature is called Purusha. Both aspects of Ishvara are without beginning. That's what Bhagavan says in the first line, Vidyanadi Upavadi. They are eternal, Vidyanadi, because Ishvara himself is eternal. So these 2 are creations of Bhagavan, these were caused by Bhagavan. So these are also eternal. Secondly, all modifications and qualities, that is Vikaramscha Gunamschaiva, are born of Prakriti. Vidhi Prakriti Sambhava. So Maya is, Prakriti is otherwise known as Maya also, are the same thing. So Prakriti is a power of Ishvara, because of his Maya Shakti, he has created this Prakriti. So it is beyond comprehension of intellect, as our intellect is a product of Prakriti. Intellect is also a product of Prakriti, so it is beyond our comprehension about Prakriti. So Prakriti gives rise to 5 elements, that is the Panchabhutas, Vayu, Akasha, Earth, Jalam, water, etc. So that produce entire visible universe. The entire visible universe is created by them. That is spread by these 5 elements. So these contributions and modifications of Prakriti or Vikaras are the modifications. Prakriti also has got 3 gunas. They have got Vikara, 3 gunas, that is Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So these gunas are there in Prakriti. That means it is there in Prakriti as well as in human beings, because human beings lower Prakriti is lower nature is lower aspect is Prakriti. So it also has the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas in all human beings. In all beings it is there. So these qualities, gunas, manifest as mental states in us, like happiness, sorrow, and attachment or delusion. So everything merges into Prakriti. Everything has come from Prakriti. So when we experience emotions of sorrow, grief, or anger, it is Prakriti that creates it. It is Prakriti that creates it, not the self, not the I. I, that the Brahman nature, that is not creating this vikaram or these changes, raga, dvesha, etc. It is not created by that. This Prakriti is creating. But when anger arises, we say, I am angry. So how do you know that I is angry when it is Prakriti that has created the anger? Prakriti has created the anger. You have seen something which is not to your liking and you get anger. So Prakriti has created that anger in you. But you are not angry. You are actual, your Purusha, that is the Brahman nature is not affected. Your Prakriti nature is affected by this anger. Your supreme nature is not affected. So, but you say, I am angry. It is not correct. Prakriti is created this anger. So he will explain this more in the next sloka. We'll take the next sloka. We will know more about it. We will continue with this.
Varalakshmi Ramesh Bhagini.
Prakritim Purusham Chaiva.
Varalakshmi Ramesh Bhagini. Malini Bhagini.
Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva. Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva.
Vidhyanadi Upavapi.
Vidyanadi Ubhavapi. Vidyanadi Ubhavapi.
Here, this Upavapi is Hraswa. Di is Dirgha. Vidhyanadi Upavapi.
Vidyanadi Ubhavapi.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Uttam.
Vatsala Bhagini.
Prakritim purusham chaiva.
Prakritim purusham chaiva. Prakritim purusham chaiva.
Vidhyanadi upavapi.
Vidyanati upavabi. Vidyanati upavabi.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva.
Vikaram chakgunan chaiva. Vikaram chakgunan chaiva.
Gunamschaiva.
Gunam chaiva.
Chaiva. Sha cha both are there. Gunamschaiva.
Vikaram chakgunam chaiva.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Padma Jagan Bhagini.
Prakritim purusham chaiva. Vidhyanadi upavapi.
Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Vidyanati Ubhavapi. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva. Vidyanati Ubhavapi.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Bholap Mahodaya.
Prakritim purusham chaiva. Vidhyanadi upavapi.
Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva. Vidyanati Ubhavapi. Prakrutim Purusham Chaiva. Vidyanati Ubhavapi.
Vidhyanadi upavapi.
Vidyanadi Ubhavapi.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Uttam.
Thank you, sir.
Anasuya Bhagini.
Prakritim purusham chaiva. Vidhyanadi upavapi. Vikaramscha gunamschaiva. Vidhi prakriti sambhavan.
Prakritim purusham chaiva. Vidyanadi ubhavapi. विकारांश गुणाश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्.
उत्तम.
रघुनाथ महोदय.
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादिवुभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्.
उत्तम.
धन्यवाद.
लक्ष्मी HS भगिनी.
प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादिवुभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृति संभवान्.
उत्तम. We'll go to the next sloka. कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते. So here, कर्तृत्वे, both are there, कर्तृत्वे. Ir will come first. Kartrutve hetuf is upadmanya. Hetuf prakriti ruchyate. Prakriti ruchyate. Purusha sukha dukkhanam. Purushas. There is a visarga followed by sakara. Purusha sukha dukkhanam. Dukkhanam. It should be heard. Purusha sukha dukkhanam. Bhoktrutve hetu ruchyate. So here Bhagavan says, with regard to the source of actions in the body and its instruments, source of actions, hetu, in the body, karya, karana, kartrutve. So, in the body and its instruments, prakriti is said to be the cause. Prakriti hetu, prakriti duchyate. Prakriti is the reason, cause for the actions in the body and its instruments. Prakriti is the thing. And then with regard to experiencing sukha dukkhanam, experiencing joy and sorrow, bhoktrutve, that is experiencing sukha dukkhanam, purusha is said to be the cause. So here there is a distinction, prakriti and purusha. So here prakriti is responsible for these actions in the body as well as the instruments of the actions. Prakriti is responsible, whereas for experiencing the joy and sorrow, Purusha is responsible, is said to be the cause. So here, Bhagavan says, Prakriti is the source of all actions of this world, not the Purusha. Prakriti is making us do all actions here. Purusha is not making us do anything. So most of us attribute doership of our actions to ourselves. We say in the second chapter also we have dealt about it. I did this, I didn't do that, like that. We attribute that doership of the actions to ourselves. So to ourselves, I. So Bhagavan emphasizes the intellect, the ego, and the mind in our body receive input from senses. They are all mechanical things. They are all prakriti. They don't have their own this thing. They need the awareness of the Brahman to act. So they get this intellect, the ego, and the mind in our body receive input from our senses. We see something, and then we get that, and the senses give the information to our mind and our ego. Whatever we see or listen or something, filtered through our vasanas, our unfulfilled desires. It will go through that. It will filter through that, and then send it, and send instructions to our organs of action. So the senses will grasp from the external world, and they will send the messages, signals to the mind, ego, intellect, etc. And it is filtered through our vasanas, our unfulfilled desires, and they will send that message to the organs of action. All this is within Prakriti. All this is within Prakriti. I does not do anything. Prakriti is doing everything. These are all automatic processes, like seeing something and then sending signals to the ego, and then acting, taking actions. All these are in the realm of Prakriti. So Purusha's role is the awareness principle or the knowledge principle present in the body. So here he is concerned with the experience of just one body. So when we say Purusha, we are mentioning about only one body. There are millions of bodies in this bodies, that is, beings are the millions of beings are there. But here, when we say he is concerned with the experience of only just one body, each and every one of us, one body. His role is to know. That is the Purusha's role. So Purusha has the capacity to know what the senses and mind report. What the senses and the mind report, Purusha has the capacity to know. Without the Purusha, there will be nothing to know. What Prakriti has projected. But Prakriti has projected something, and Purusha's help only, we are trying to know what it is. For example, there is suppose some bitter liquid we taste a bitter liquid. So as soon as it touches our tongue, we immediately that signal is passed on to our mind or to our knowledge principle, our awareness principle, that it is bitter. It is very bitter. So some people like bitter things. So they are happy with it. Some people don't like bitter things. So they are unhappy with it. So like that, it is awareness principle. That awareness, that experiencing is done by the body, and awareness is done by the Purusha principle. So when external objects are arranged by Prakriti in a pattern conducive to our vasanas, to our liking, if the external Prakriti is arranging things happening like that, then Purusha experiences joy. The Purusha recognizes that it is conducive to his vasanas, to his liking, and Purusha experiences joy. So when we say, I am happy, the Purusha experiences happiness. The Purusha is that sensing mechanism that experiences happiness. Similarly, sorrow also experienced by the Purusha. So this sloka summarizes the state of our lives. This is the way we live in this world. Our body with its organs interacts with other bodies in the world, in this world. And it performs actions whose results are experienced by the Purusha. The experience Purusha as joy and sorrow. So the cycle continues. Joy and sorrow, joy and sorrow. And this is samsara. This is called samsara. This is called what we call samsara. But we are told in the second chapter that our nature is Brahman. Our nature is Brahman. It pervades everywhere. Also, we know Prakriti projects universe of names and forms. Whatever we see in the Prakriti, it has got a name and a form. Whatever it is, we have got a name and form. So Prakriti is projecting universe like that. So how did Purusha come into being? Everything say everything is Brahman. Everything is Brahman, but how did this Purusha principle come into being? So how does it take one body out of all the bodies in the world as its own and experience only that body's joy and sorrow? How did this Purusha principle arise? And how does it take only one body out of million, out of all the bodies in the world as its own? It says it's my body, and experience only that body's joy and sorrow. So we can see many people, they experience joy and sorrow. Some people are joyful, some people are sorrowful. So how does it happen? That a distinction between bodies. So this is what is told in this sloka. That the root cause of samsara you will see in the next sloka. We'll continue with this. Next, we'll continue with this.
Devi Chitra Bhagini.
Karya karana kartrutve.
Karya karana kartrutve. Karya karana kartrutve.
Ketuf prakriti ruchyate.
Heduf prakriti ruchyate. Heduf prakriti ruchyate.
Purusha sukha dukkhanam.
Purusha sukha dukkhanam. Purusha sukha dukkhanam
bhoktritve heturuchyate.
bhoktrutve heduruchyate bhoktrutve heduruchyate.
Uttam.
धन्यवाद.
Anita Sharma Bhagini.
Always it is dirgha. Karya karana kartrutve.
Hare Krishna. Karye karnane kritva. Karye karnate kritva.
Hetu prakriti ruchyate.
Hetuhu prakriti uchyate. Hetuhu prakriti uchyate.
Purusha sukha dukkhanam.
Sukha dukkhanam.
Bhoktritve heturuchyate.
Vinoda Bhagini.
Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते
Purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve heturuchyate.
पुरुषः सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः सुख दुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
Uttam.
Hema Shriram Bhagini.
Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते
Purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve heturuchyate.
पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
Uttam.
Sapna Bhagini.
Karya karana kartrutve hetu prakriti ruchyate. Purusha sukha dukkhanam bhoktritve heturuchyate.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
Uttam.
Ilavarasi Bhagini.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
Uttam.
Thank you.
Nagamani Bhagini.
कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते.
Uttam. We'll go to the next sloka. So,
धन्यवादः.
Dhanyawad. So here the root cause of samsara as samsara. This is that is the repeated experience of joy and sorrow. Why it is happening to us? So purusha prakristhohi purusha. This is upadmarya. Purusha prakristhohi phungte prakriti jan gunan phungte prakriti jan gunan karanang guna sangosya karanang guna sangosya anuswara protect ga, so ing will come karanang guna sangosya satasadyoni janmasu you will see So Purushaha, when seated in Prakriti, Purusha is seated in Prakriti, only experiences the qualities born of Prakriti. Whatever Prakriti is experiencing, the Purusha is also experiencing that. Whatever Prakriti is, that individual's Prakriti nature, that the Purusha will experience that. So attachment to these qualities, Karanam Unasangosya, attachment to these qualities is the cause of his birth in good and evil wombs. Satasad Yoni Janmasu. Attachment to these qualities, whatever the Prakriti is projecting those qualities, attachment to those qualities is the reason for taking birth in good and evil wombs. This is what Bhagavan says here. So we are here, Bhagavan says, we are stuck in misidentification twice in samsara. So first, Brahman has mistakenly identified itself with the one body due to ignorance. Brahman has mistakenly identified itself with the one body due to ignorance. So when Brahman as though gets deluded with ignorance, he doesn't know that it's Brahman. So deluded with ignorance, it becomes the Purusha. The Brahman which has become ignorant of its nature, of its infinite nature, it becomes the Purusha and becomes seated in Prakriti. As the higher principle, it becomes seated in Prakriti. But actually it is Brahman, but doesn't know it is Brahman. It is out of ignorance, it sits in Prakriti. It forgets its real nature as infinite, indivisible and blissful. It assumes the properties of our body and thinks itself to be finite, divisible and so on. The Purusha also assumes the Prakriti's qualities and thinks it is divisible, finite and so on. So second, having identified with a finite body, having taken the upadhi of a body, so upadhis, bodies are upadhis only. That is, they are all limitations. They are Brahman actually, but they are taking the upadhi of a body. We get attached to the play of Prakriti. We get our Purusha or the Brahman state is getting attached to the play of Prakriti, the play of the three gunas, the rest, the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas gunas. So we get so attached to the forms of Prakriti that we generate selfish desires in order to repeatedly contact these forms, which are nothing but objects and people. So we are continuously, repeatedly, we are forced to contact these forms, which are nothing but objects. In the universe, you see only objects and people. So we get selfish desires. We develop selfish desires in order to repeatedly contact these forms. So, like you get attached to some people get happiness from having a sleek modern car or something. So you get attached, you get joy out of getting that, possessing that car. Like that, people get attached to things. So he doesn't get happiness out of himself. The happiness is there in him, but he gets happiness from outside things like a car or any other thing. So how to get out of this two-step, that is this, that is forgetting that we are our Brahman and then identifying with the Prakriti and getting all the qualities of Prakriti, how to get out of this. So, so this is, that is how to get out of this two-step problem of samsara, which causes us to take birth in good and evil wombs. Depending upon our samsara, we get born into good and evil wombs. There are two steps are there by which we can get out of this samsara. One is step one, attachment to gunas. So we should give up our attachment to gunas through vairagya or dispassion. So wean ourselves away from these gunas, sattva, rajas and tamas, and try to wean ourselves away from those gunas. So our prakriti is cleaned, so that Purusha will be try to realize its Brahman state. And the second step is ignorance of our true nature. Our true nature is Brahman, that we should never forget. Through jnana, that is jnana, we said those 20 attributes amanitvam, adambitvam, etc. Through that, we have to realize our real nature. Through jnana, know real nature as Brahman, and internalize this through meditation, that we are Brahman. That internalize it so that we can get over this samsara and get liberation for us. This is what is done here. We'll continue.
Pushpa Bhagini.
Purusha prakristho hi.
Purusha prakristho hi. Purusha prakristho hi.
Don't say he, this he only. Purusha prakristho hi.
Purusha prakristho hi.
Bhunte prakriti jan gunan. Bhunte.
Bhungte prakriti jan gunan. Bhungte prakriti jan gunan.
Karanang guna sangosya.
Karanang guna sangosya. Karanang guna sangosya.
Satasadyo ni janmasu.
Sadasadyo ni janmasu. Sadasadyo ni janmasu. धन्यवाद.
Vatsala Bhagini.
Purusha prakristho hi.
Purusha prakritosto hi.
Prakristho hi.
Prakritisto hi.
Purusha prakristho hi.
Purusha prakritisto hi.
Purusha, this is ubadmaniya. Purusha prakristho hi.
Purusha prakritisto hi. Purusha prakritisto hi.
Bhunte prakriti jan gunan.
Bhungte prakriti jan gunan. Bhungte prakriti jan gunan.
Karanang guna sangosya.
Karanang guna sanghosya. Karanang guna sanghosya.
Sadasadyo ni janmasu.
Sadasatyoni janmasu. Sadasatyoni janmasu.
Padma Jagan Bhagini.
Purusha prakristho hi. Bhunte prakriti jan gunan.
Purusha prakristho hi bhunte prakritijan gunan. Purusha prakristho hi bhunte prakritijan gunan.
Karanang guna sangosya. Satasadyo ni janmasu.
Karanang guna sanghosya sadasatyo nijanmasu. Karanam guna sanghosya sadasatyo nijanmasu.
Uttam.
Hema Bhagini.
Purusha prakristho hi. Bhunte prakriti jan gunan. Karanang guna sangosya. Satasadyo ni janmasu.
Purusha prakristho hi bhunte prakritijan gunan karanang guna sangosya sadasadyoni janmasu.
Uttam.
Thank you.
Gholap Mahodaya. Gholap Mahodaya.
Prakriti stohi.
Purusha prakristho.
Sorry. Purusha prakriti stohi. Bhungte prakriti janat. Sorry.
Prakriti jan
gunan. Karanang guna sangosya. Sadasatyo ni janmasu.
Uttam.
Rema Shriram Bhagini.
Purusha prakristho hi bhunte prakritijan gunan karanang guna sanghosya sadasatyo nijanmasu.
Uttam. Well chanted. So we'll conclude here with the samapayamaha, with the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavadaka Punarmilamaka Ram Ram Ram. Please practice. You will chant
Yes,
very
ma'am.
well. We want to listen to your beautiful chanting. We are very eager to listen to your beautiful chanting. So please practice well.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಮಹೋದಯ. Once again,
ಮಹೋದಯ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ
Ram Ram Mahodaya.
ರಾಮ್ ರಾಮ್ ರಾಮ್
ರಾಮ್ ರಾಮ್
Ram Ram.